The first time the signal appeared, it was nothing but a soft pulse, a rhythmic whisper across the void, repeating every 88 seconds. At first, astronomers dismissed it as background noise, another false alarm among the millions that reached Earth every day. But when Dr. Mira Solis ran a frequency analysis, her blood ran cold. The pulse wasn't random, it carried a pattern. Human DNA, encoded perfectly, base by base, streaming from 40 light-years away. Within days, the signal became the only thing the world could talk about. Some called it a miracle, others a trap. Commander Elias Ward had seen enough of both. A decorated astronaut and the last survivor of the Titan moon disaster, he had sworn never to set foot in space again. But when the United Earth Council requested him to lead a classified mission called Project Echo, something about that name pulled him in. Echo, he murmured, staring at the looping DNA sequence on his display. It was as if someone, or something, out there was repeating humanity's very essence, calling it back. Aboard the exploration ship Aurora, Ward and his team of 6 departed from lunar orbit under a silent crowd's gaze. The signal's coordinates pointed toward an uncharted system near the Perseus Arm. As they traveled deeper into the darkness, the ship's AI, Aris, began acting strangely. It predicted their course changes seconds before they made them. It played soft audio clips of the crew's voices before they even spoke. When Mira checked the AI logs, she froze. The timestamps were all from the future. By the 5th week, tension ran high. Night after night, they all heard faint whispers through the ship's walls. Sometimes the whispers said their names. Sometimes they repeated lines from their personal memories, things no one else could know. Then came the image. Aris displayed a planetary scan of a world with blue oceans and white clouds, nearly identical to Earth, but there was no record of any such planet in that region. The coordinates matched the signal source exactly. Ward stared at the holographic sphere, his reflection hovering over the shimmering image of a second Earth. "Who sent this?" he muttered under his breath. And somewhere in the static between stars, a voice answered softly, "You did." The descent through the atmosphere of Eos 9 was eerily smooth. No turbulence, no friction, almost as if the planet wanted them to land. The Aurora glided down through golden clouds that shimmered like liquid sunlight, revealing an ocean that mirrored the sky. Commander Ward gripped the control yoke tighter as the ship's systems adjusted automatically, responding faster than human input. "It's reading our intentions," Mira whispered from her console, "like it already knows what we're trying to do." When they touched down, the crew expected alien landscapes, jagged crystals, monstrous plants, or skies painted in strange colors. Instead, they found themselves staring at rolling green fields, wind-swept plains, and mountains capped with snow. The air was breathable, the gravity perfect, and the sound of waves against the shore was hauntingly familiar. Ward removed his helmet, hesitated, then inhaled deeply. Oxygen, nitrogen, an exact match to Earth. "Impossible," he muttered. "It's as if someone rebuilt home." The crew spread out to collect samples. Every reading screamed contradiction. The trees matched Earth's oak species. The soil carried microorganisms identical to those from the Amazon basin. Even the constellations above, when mapped, reflected the night sky from Earth's southern hemisphere. Only one thing didn't fit: the continental patterns. Satellite scans revealed coastlines and landmasses identical to prehistoric Earth, roughly 2 million years in the past. It was as if Eos 9 had frozen time and preserved an earlier version of their own planet. Mira's voice trembled as she studied her data. "Commander, the genetic samples from this soil, they're human." Ward turned sharply. "Say that again." She swallowed hard. "Human DNA, not contamination, native." The entire team went silent. They hadn't even set foot in the ruins yet, but the planet was already telling their story. Later that evening, when the twin moons rose, the crew found something metallic embedded in the valley nearby, a structure half buried under vines and dust. Its edges were smooth, its surface engraved with strange geometric symbols that glowed faintly under touch. But what froze everyone in place was the inscription at the entrance, written clearly in English letters, "Project Echo." Ward felt his chest tighten. That was the name of their mission, classified and known only to 7 people on Earth. The others stared at him, waiting for an explanation he didn't have. The wind picked up, carrying a soft mechanical whisper through the trees. "Welcome back." The doors of the buried structure slid open with a low hiss, releasing a wave of warm, stale air that smelled faintly of ozone and rust. The corridor inside was lined with glassy walls that shimmered with faint lights, like memories trapped beneath the surface. As the crew moved deeper, Eris's voice began to distort. Warning. Data overlap detected. Temporal signatures inconsistent. Every step they took seemed to echo twice, once in the present and once from some distant past. Dr. Mira Solis led the way, scanning the walls. Suddenly, one of the panels lit up, projecting a holographic image into the air. It wasn't alien symbols or ancient architecture, it was footage, grainy but unmistakable. Commander Ward standing at a control console, giving orders to the very same crew who now watched in stunned silence. "That's us," Mira whispered. "How can it be us?" Ward's recorded image looked older, tired, his voice distorted by static. "If you're seeing this," the hologram said, "then the cycle has begun again. The planet remembers. You must decide if it deserves to." Then the image blinked out. A wave of static rippled through the walls, and suddenly the lights around them pulsed like a heartbeat. The deeper they went, the more the planet responded. Vines retracted, floors reshaped beneath their boots, and faint whispers filled the air, overlapping into words. "You left," the voice murmured. "We waited." Mira's instruments began to pick up neural energy patterns, thoughts, emotions, emanating from the planet itself. "It's alive," she said. "Not just organic, sentient, it's thinking, and it knows who we are." The archives they found next confirmed it. Holographic maps of galaxies, timelines of human evolution, and recordings of voices, millions of them, merged into a living database. The planet wasn't just collecting information, it was preserving consciousness. The last chamber held something far more personal. A set of capsules containing genetic words stood motionless before the glowing capsules, their light casting long ghostly shadows across the chamber walls. His reflection stared back at him from the glass surface, distorted, doubled, as if the planet were trying to merge the image of who he was with who he had been. Around him, the hum of the structure deepened into a steady rhythm, almost like breathing. Eris flickered to life one final time, its voice trembling. "Commander, identity correlation complete, genetic match 100%, planetary core signature identical to Earth's." The words sank into him like cold metal. Outside, the sky began to shift colors, clouds twisting in slow spirals of gold and crimson. The ground vibrated beneath their feet. Mira clutched her scanner, watching the readings spike off the scale. "It's synchronizing with us," she said. "It's not just remembering, it's reawakening." Ward looked around at his crew, fear and awe etched across their faces. "Then we need to understand what it wants before it decides for us." As they reached the central chamber, they found a vast living sphere suspended above a glowing pit. It pulsed with every heartbeat on the planet, waves of energy flowing through the air like tides. Ward stepped closer, his voice trembling. "Who are you?" The answer came not in words but in thoughts, searing through his mind like fire. Images of Earth's destruction, oceans boiling, cities crumbling, humanity vanishing, and then a single spark of light escaping into the stars. The message was clear. This planet was Earth's memory, a reconstruction born from data, DNA, and emotion, rebuilt by a force that refused to let humanity die. The voice returned, calm and ancient. "You created me to remember when you could not. You are not returning home. You never left." The realization hit Ward like a tidal wave. EOS 9 wasn't a distant world, it was Earth reborn, rebuilt across time or dimension to preserve what was lost. Tears filled Mira's eyes as she whispered, "We're the echo." Ward closed his eyes, stepping toward the sphere. "Then let it remember us right." As he reached out, light engulfed him, spreading to the others. Their bodies dissolved into pure energy, merging with the planet's core. For a brief, blinding moment, every star reflected their faces. And in the silence that followed, the planet whispered softly into the cosmos, "They've come home."